One day, there was a homeless man who was trying to gather food. He noticed that his food would disappear every day. One day, he caught the mouse that kept stealing his food and asked, "Why are you stealing from me? I am a homeless man. You can steal from richer people than me, and it won't have any effect on them." The mouse then told the homeless man, "It is in your destiny that you can only have 8 items in your possession. No matter how much you beg or gather, this is all you will be able to have." The homeless man was shocked and asked, "Why is that my destiny?" The mouse replied, "I do not know. You should ask the Buddha." So the homeless man went on his journey to find the Buddha. As he was traveling, he got late, and he ended up at a wealthy family's house. He asked if he could stay the night, and they let him in. The family asked him, "Young man, why are you traveling so late?" He answered, "I have a question for the Buddha, and I will be on my way tomorrow." The family then said, "Can we give you a question to ask the Buddha? We have a 16-year-old daughter who cannot speak. We just want to know what we have to do to make her speak." The homeless man thanked them for their shelter and said, "Of course, I will ask the Buddha your question." The next morning, the homeless man continued his journey. He saw a sea of mountains ahead of him, and he knew that he had to cross them in order to reach the Buddha. He climbed up one of the mountains, and he met a wizard. The wizard offered to use his staff to fly the homeless man across the sea of mountains. The homeless man gratefully accepted, and the wizard flew them across the mountains in a matter of minutes. When they landed, the wizard asked the homeless man where he was going. The homeless man told the wizard that he was going to ask the Buddha a question about his destiny. The wizard then asked the homeless man if he could give him a question to ask the Buddha. The wizard said that he had been trying to go to heaven for 1,000 years, and he wanted to know what he had to do to get there. The homeless man agreed to ask the wizard's question, and he continued on his journey to find the Buddha. As he continued on his journey, he ran into his last obstacle, which was a river that he could not cross. Luckily, he met a giant turtle who decided to take him across the river. As they were crossing the river, the turtle asked, "Where are you going?" The homeless man replied, "I am going to see the Buddha. I am going to ask him a question about my destiny." The turtle then said, "Would you please ask a question for me? I have been trying to become a dragon for 500 years. According to my teachings, I should have become a dragon by now. Can you please ask the Buddha what I have to do to become a dragon?" The homeless man thanked the turtle for taking him across the river and said, "Of course, I will ask your question for you." The homeless man finally met the Buddha. The Buddha said, "I will answer 3 questions for everyone here, but only 3 questions." The young man was shocked. He had 4 questions. He thought carefully. He thought about the turtle, who had been trying to become a dragon for 500 years. He thought about the wizard, who had been trying to get to heaven for 1,000 years. He thought about the young girl, who would have to live her whole life unable to speak. And then he looked at himself and said, "I am just a homeless beggar. I can just go back home and continue begging." So, as he looked at everybody else's problems, his problem suddenly seemed so small. He felt sorry for the turtle, the wizard, and the young girl, and he took the time to ask their questions. He then asked the Buddha, and the Buddha answered, "The turtle is unwilling to leave his shell. As long as he's unwilling to leave the comfort of his shell, he will never become a dragon. The wizard always carries his staff and never puts it down. It acts as an anchor, keeping him from heaven. And as for the girl, she will be able to speak when she meets her soulmate." So the homeless man bowed to the Buddha and went on a journey back home. He reunited with the turtle and said, "Hey, you just have to take off your shell and you will become a dragon." The turtle then took off his shell, and inside the shell were priceless pearls found in the deepest parts of the ocean. The turtle gave the pearls to the homeless man and said, "Thank you. I no longer need these because I am now a dragon." The dragon then flew away. The homeless man reunited with the wizard on the top of a mountain. He said, "You just have to put down your staff, and you will be able to go to heaven." The wizard let go of his staff and gave it to the young man. He said, "Thank you," and then ascended to heaven. The young man now had wealth from the turtle and power from the wizard. He went back to the family that had given him shelter and told them, "The Buddha said your daughter will be able to speak when she meets her soulmate." At that moment, the daughter came downstairs and said, "Hey, is that the man that was here last week?" The young girl and the homeless man had found their soulmates. This story tells us so many things, so many lessons. For me, I think that sometimes we have to give things in order to get something in return. Sometimes, if we want to become a dragon or a lion, we have to be willing to leave behind what makes us most comfortable and what makes us feel most safe. We have to leave our comfort zone, just like the turtle did. And in order to find true love, we must become someone who is willing to put others before ourselves. When we are alone and lost in our thoughts, sometimes our problems seem so big, and it may seem like it is the end of the world. But if we look at other people's lives, other people who don't have as much opportunity as us and have it worse than us, sometimes it makes our problems seem so much smaller. If we are willing to lend a hand to those who are struggling more than us, willing to help them, it may change the course of our life and our destiny. And the universe may repay us in such a way that we never would have imagined. It will come back to you. All the good that you do in the world will come back to you.